All right, so I think we've gotten a hold of it. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to zoom it so that we can see it properly. Zoom it again. Then I'll pick my console cable. Here I'll right click, I'll say inspect the rear, that is the back. Can you see the console? Very good. So we've connected the console cable from this side. Okay, then we're going to come to this PC here, then we connect it here. So can you see our console cable is now connected, right? So having connected the console cable, we have finished step C. Okay, D says from the desktop tab of PCA, use the terminal to connect to the switch. From the desktop tab from PCA, use the terminal to connect the switch. And they say, why must you use a console connection to initially configure the switch? Why is it not possible to connect via Telnet or SSH? Now, because this switch this is the first time we're configuring it. This is the initial configuration. All right. So it is at this point now that you will log into the switch and set up the parameters where you can connect via Telnet or SSH. You have not configured the VTY lines. Okay. So let me zoom it. They say we should come here and then go to the desktop terminal. This is the terminal. Click OK. Then they say enter the switch. This is the switch. Would you like to enter initial configuration dialog? Then I'll say no, which means configuration dialog means that you want the machine to do auto configuration for you. So I don't want that. You understand? I want to do my configuration myself. All right. So let me go to preference and increase the font size. Let me close this guy first. Go to tools. Is it tools? No, view, no. Aha, options, preferences, fonts. Let me see. CLI. I think 12. Well, let me give it 13. Let me give it 13. Maybe it makes it better. Right. So from here, terminal, say okay. All right. So it makes it a little bit bigger. Good. So I am in the switch now. Can you see? I am currently in the switch. This is inside of the switch. If I press enter, can you see I'm inside the switch? So let's continue. So step 2, verify the default configuration. All right. In this step, you will examine the default switch settings, such as the current configuration, the iOS information, interface properties, VLAN information, and flash memory. You can access all the switch iOS commands in privilege exec mode. Access to privilege exec mode, should be restricted by a password protection to prevent unauthorized use because it protects direct access to global configuration mode and commands used to configure operating parameters. You will set passwords later in this activity. The privilege exec mode command sets include those commands contained in user executive mode, as well as the configure command through which the access to the remaining command modes are gained. So use the enable command to enter the privilege executive mode. All right. So like we have done in CCNA1, there are different commands that will take you to the next level. So this is our user mode because of this caret sign, greater than sign. So if I type enable, so I'm moving to the privilege executive mode. Now, what I read earlier is just to tell us that, look, on a normal day, between this stage and the next stage, user and the privilege executive mode, there should be a password. Okay, you require a password in order to get in there, but we'll talk about that later. So the enable command takes us to the privilege executive mode. A says, assuming the switch had no configuration file stored in non-volatile RAM, a console connection using terminal will place you at the user executive prompt mode on the switch with this user prompt. Okay, so that is what we have done. So open configuration window. Notice that the prompt changed at the configuration. Remember, the moment we enter the enabled, you'll see the prompt has changed from greater than sign to this pound sign. It means that we are in the privilege executive mode. So it says verify that there is a clean configuration file on the switch by issuing the show running config. All right. Now, this show running config is the command that will show that will bring out the configurations that are currently running in the RAM. Now, like we saw in CCNA1, the switch has what we call the NV RAM, all right, which is like the hard disk, okay, but it's a RAM, but non-volatile. Volatility means the ability for the RAM to lose its content when power goes off. But this one is a non-volatile RAM, which means when you store information or configuration there, even if power goes off, it does not lose its content. Okay, so that is the NVRAM. Now, the command to show the running configuration is what is in the RAM, the active RAM where the commands are running. But the NVRAM is where the commands are usually stored afterwards. So what this command we want to check now is what is currently showing. So I use show running config. Okay. Now, once I use the command show running config, it will build the configuration and it will tell me that the size of the configuration is about 1340 bytes. I'm running iOS version 16.3.2. There are no service terms. There are no this, no service password encryption. The host name is switch, which is a default one. No IP Cisco Express forwarding is there. No IP Cisco V6 Cisco Express forwarding. Spanning tree mode is PVST, Pavilion Spanning Tree. The interfaces, these are the interfaces. They has gigabit 0101 up to gigabit interface 10/24. And then, all right, it has to this. Then it has another one, gigabit 111 to 114. Okay. Interface VLAN 1 is by default. No IP address on the switch. Interfaces are shut down. And let's see here again. Line console 0. There is no configuration on that. No password. Auxiliary mode, no password. VTY lines where you're going to do remote connection, no passwords and things like that. So these are like the default configurations that are in the switch. Okay. So now they're asking us some questions. How many gigabit Ethernet interface does it have? We saw 24. Is that not so? Right? What is the range of values for the VTY lines for the switch? Look at the range of values, 0 to 4 here. That is what we can see here, 0 to 4, right? And then it says examine the startup configuration in the NVRAM. So now we have seen what is in the running configuration. Let's see what is in the startup configuration. What is in the NVRAM? Okay, what is in the NVRAM is called startup configuration. It's usually loaded when the switch starts. Okay, so the command to do that, I'll just come and say show startup config and see what it's telling me. Startup config is not present, which simply means that nothing is stored in the NVRAM. Can you see? Startup config is not present. And the question is, why does this message appear? The answer is simple. The message appears because you have not saved anything on the NVRAM. This is the first time you are configuring the switch. So when you're configuring the switch for the first time, there is no startup config. All right. Then it says examine characteristics of switch virtual interface for VLAN 1. So let's find out. We use the command show interface VLAN 1. By default, every switch comes with a VLAN 1 configured in it. So show interface VLAN 1. All right. So this is the interface. The interface is administratively down. It has not been configured. The line protocol is down. It has not been configured. Okay, it will tell us the MAC address. You see, this is the MAC address of the VLAN. This is the maximum transmission unit in bytes. This is the bandwidth for the particular interface. Okay. This is the transmission load. This is the receiving load. This is the encapsulation type. Loopback is not set. Let's see what other information. The other ones are made basically statistics. Okay, so let's see the questions that are there for us. It says, is there an IP address for VLAN 1? The answer is no. What is the MAC address for the switch virtual interface? All right, answers will vary. So I've shown you the MAC address. This is the MAC address here. Can you see? All right. It says examine the IP properties of switch virtual interface 1. All right. So, all right. So if I now do show IP interface VLAN 1. This is the IP properties. If there's an IP address, we'll see. All right. So IP is administratively down. Line protocol is down. The IP is disabled. Nothing has been configured there yet. All right. So what output did we see? Like what we have seen. Okay. Now F says connect an Ethernet cable from PCA to gigabit Ethernet 106 on the switch. All right. Allow time for the switch and PC to negotiate duplex and speed parameters. Examine the IP properties and the switch virtual interface VLAN 1. Okay. So what I'm supposed to do now, I'm going to connect Ethernet cable from PCA to gigabit Ethernet 06. All right. So where's my, this is it here. So this is PCA. So what kind of cable will I connect? Is straight through. So this is a copper straight through. So they say we should come to 06 bar. If I come here, this is 011. This is 06. Then I connect it to this fast Ethernet. So you see, I've connected my cable. Can you see that? All right. So the moment I connect the cable, see the message that came on the switch. This is the interface gigabit Ethernet 106 has changed. The status have changed to what? Up. So it says line protocol on the interface gigabit Ethernet 106 has changed. The status have changed to up, right? That is it. All right, so that's what it is. Question, what output did you see? We have seen that the status have changed to up. All right, so it says enter global configuration mode and enable the switch virtual interface for VLAN 1. Okay, so we'll go to global mode and then do that. Then examine the IP properties for switch virtual interface. So what command did we use to check that? So if I, sorry, where am I? If I come here, let me close this. Initially, when we recall show IP interface VLAN 1, you see, this is what we're going to see for VLAN 1. And you see, initially, that is what we're going to see. So they're saying we should go to the global configuration mode. And what do you do in the global configuration mode? You do configuration. You assign IP addresses. Okay. So how do you do? Let's come back to our table. Let's go to our table. Okay, so you see on our switch, this is VLAN 99, VLAN 99, VLAN 99, which means we are going to create a VLAN 99, all right? And then assign IP addresses to it. Okay, that's what we are going to do. So, but let's follow the steps bit by bit so that we will see where we now. All right. Where are we? All right. Right. Okay, I think yes, this is where we were. Okay. So it says connect gigabit. Okay, I think we've done this. It says enter global configuration and enable switch virtual interface VLAN 1. So I'm going to come here. I'll say configure terminal. All right. Then interface VLAN 1. Okay. Now they say for VLAN 1, yes. Then I say no shutdown. All right. So the moment I use this command, no shutdown, you see it says line protocol and the interface state has changed to up. Okay. So it says examine the IP properties on VLAN 1. So I can recall back my command. Or is it myself? If I see, so I mean, you see, this is showing me -if is showing me that I'm on the interface mode. So I'll exit here, exit here. Then I'll now check show IP interface VLAN 1. All right. What do you see? This time around, it says VLAN 1 is what? Up. Line protocol is what? Up. So that's is up now. Okay. Now, when we do use the command show version to answer the following questions. What version of the switch is running? What is the system image file name? What is the base MAC address of the switch? Okay. So if I say show version, all right, this is it. It's trying to tell me the switch is running version 16.3.2. This is the model of the switch. It has a total of 28 ports. This is the image, the iOS image that is on the particular device. Okay, that's on the particular device. Right? So by issuing show version, it gives you, this is the command we issued. It gives you all details about the iOS that you have in that particular system. Tells you it's a switch, layer 3 switch. Layer 3 switch is a switch that can function from layer 2 and also layer 3. It tells us the version that is there. Okay. And then what also does it tells us? It tells us the ROM that were there. It tells us the bootloader. All right. Shows us the bootloader. All right. It tells us how long the switch has been on and things like that. It gives us this information we have here. So, like we said, show version gives you all the information relating to the version. It gives you even the serial number of the switch. It gives you the model number of the switch. It gives you the motherboard revision number. You know, gives you the motherboard serial number, the assembly number. It gives you the MAC address. So if you use show version, it gives you all that information. All right. Now, it says examine default properties on this interface, gigabit Ethernet 1/0/6, all right, used by PCA. All right, so if we do that, it asks us, it says, is the interface up or down? What event would make the interface go down? All right, so if I come here and I say show interface gigabit 101/0/6. Okay, it tells us that the interface is up, the line protocol is up, and why? Because it's connected. You know, the moment we connected a cable to it, then we got the status changed. Okay, it's connected, right? And then basically that is it. Now, MAC address, it will tell us the MAC address if you so wish. You can get a MAC address. This is the MAC address that is here. Look at it here. You see? Now, examine the default VLAN settings of the switch when we use show VLAN. That's the show VLAN. So if you observe something, we have the VLAN 1, VLAN 99, VLAN 1002, VLAN 1003, 104, 105. Now you see these ones are all default VLANs. Okay, last CCNA1, we looked at the different VLANs. This is also a default VLAN. Can you see? But this is created. Now, in this default VLAN for VLAN 1, observe that all the ports in this switch are connected to VLAN 1, which means that we have a VLAN 99, but no port is connected to it. Okay? So it says, what is the name of VLAN 1? The name is default. The name is default. For VLAN 99, this is the name. All right. So it says which ports are in VLAN 1? All the ports. All right. Is VLAN 1 active? Yes. What type of VLAN is a default VLAN? Is the VLAN that is created by default from the manufacturer that comes with a switch. All right. How about if you want to examine the flash memory? All right. Issue one of the following commands to examine the content of the flash directory. So if I say show flash, if I say show flash, right? What does it give me? It gives me the entire flash where the iOS is. It also gives me the VLAN.dat information. VLAN.dat information is where it's like the database. Dat means database. All right. Is where all the VLAN information are stored. All right. Is where all the information are stored about VLANs. Right. So files. So it says, what is the file name of the iOS? This is the file name for the iOS. Can you see it? This is the file name for the iOS. Okay, so in part 2, you will configure basic settings for the switch. So step 1, configure basic switch settings. It says copy the following basic configuration and paste it into switch 1 while in the global mode, right? So I'm just going to copy like this, no domain lookup, host name is switch 1. Yeah, we're changing the switch name from switch to switch 1. We're enabling service password encryption. We're creating the password class for the privilege mode. And we're creating a message of the day banner. And we're calling it unauthorized access is strictly prohibited. So I'm going to copy like this, here to here. Copy it. Then they say we should go to the global configuration mode. I'll say configure terminal. Then I will paste it here. Okay. So having pasted it, I want you to observe something. Initially, this is the name of the switch. Can you see it? Switch. But the moment we paste it, the name have changed to S1. All right, that's changed to S1 by using this command. Okay. Pause. All right, so what we're saying, all right, the name has changed to S1. Then service password encryption, we have encrypted the password. The privilege mode, we have used class to secure it. And then we have created a banner. This is the banner that we have entered. Unauthorized access is strictly prohibited. Right. Okay. So it now said set the switch virtual interface address of the switch. This allows remote management to the switch. Before you can manage switch S1 remotely from PCA, you must assign the switch an IP address. The default configuration of the switch is to have the management of the switch controlled through VLAN 1. Okay. However, the best practice for basic switch configuration is to change the management VLAN to a VLAN other than VLAN 1. So for management purposes, use VLAN 99, which was created. Okay. The selection of VLAN 99 is arbitrary. In no way implies that you should always use VLAN 99. You can use any other VLAN apart from VLAN 1. Okay, so first create a new VLAN 99 on the switch. Next, set the IP address on the switch to 192.168.1.2 with a subnet mask 255.255.255.255 on the internal interface VLAN 99. Okay, an IP address can be configured on the switch virtual interface. So use the IPv6 address listed above table. All right, so we're going to use the table, but we'll use this IP address 1.2. Let's see, where is the table? Okay, this is the table. So on VLAN 99, we will put this address 1.2. Then we will put this address for IP version 6, and then for this one. Okay. So let's come here. Okay, let's follow. To do that, let's follow the example we're giving. Where is it? All right. Okay. Also, I thought they gave us steps to do that. So let's just do that. Okay. So I will say, remember the steps to create VLAN 99. All right. So VLAN 99. And then they say we should give it an IP address 192.168. They say 1.2, right? 1.2. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let's see. We made a mistake here. Interface VLAN 99. All right. IP address 192.168 1.2 255.255.255.0. Then we say no shutdown. Okay, let's put in the IPv6 address. Let me just copy it to make it faster. Look at it here. Just copy it like this. Let me just paste it. Okay, what did I miss? Okay, all right, so that's entered. Then IPv6. Okay, what did I miss? I'm looking for. All right, so I think we are okay. I just wanted to find out other commands that are there. If you use the question mark, it's going to list out everything. If I just put the question mark before, you will see the content here is a little different from the content here. All right. So that is it. So we have put in the IPv6. If at the end, you put the question mark, you will see the content different. So at each particular point, you want to find out some things, you can always put a question mark, then it will give you an idea of what you need. Okay. So let's go down to where we are. So we're supposed to activate the interface. So let me see, no shutdown, right? Right, so having done that, what is it saying now? What it's saying is that we should issue the show VLAN brief on this command, right? Am I correct? Yes. Okay. I say notice that VLAN 99 interface is downstate. All right. Though you entered the no shutdown command. All right. The interface is currently down because no switch port is assigned to VLAN 99. So C says assign all user ports to VLAN 99. Okay, so to establish connectivity between the host and the switch, the ports used by the host must be on the same VLAN switch. After a few seconds, VLAN 99 will come up because at least one active port is there. So we're supposed to assign all the VLAN. Remember, if I do, let me see, if I open it here, and I say show VLAN brief, you see, it will tell me all the, what do they call it, ports are on VLAN 1. So I want to move them to VLAN 99. Okay, so to move them, I will say, go to the configuration mode, interface range, gigabit 1/0/1 to what? 24. Then gigabit 1/1/1 to 4. Okay. I'm supposed to put, is it a comma here? Let me see. Good. Then I will say switch port access VLAN 99. Right. So because we have done that, the VLAN 1 will now change to down because there is no physical port assigned to it. VLAN 99 will now state to up. Okay. So if I exit now and I say, I recall the command show VLAN brief, you will see all the ports now have been moved to VLAN 99. And then VLAN 1, all the ports, there's no port that is assigned there, right? Now it says configure, it says configure default gateway for switch 1. If no default gateway is set, the switch cannot be managed from a remote network. That is more than one router away. So although this activity does not include an external IP gateway, assume that you will eventually connect the LAN to a router for external access. Assuming that LAN interface on the router is 192.168.1.1, set the default gateway for the switch. So we're supposed to set default gateway, okay? Now, default gateway. We'll now go to configure terminal, IP default gateway. This is IP default dash gateway. All right. And then they say we should put 192.168.1.1. Right. So we have done that. So we have set that one. So the next thing, F, says console port access should also be restricted with a password. So use CISCO as the console login password in this activity. The default configuration will allow all console connections with no password needed. So to prevent console messages from interrupting commands, use the login synchronous option. Okay, so that is actually to prevent console messages from interrupting your command. Okay, so we will go to our global mode, then we'll do line console 0, then we'll create a password. We use CISCO as password, then we'll now use login synchronous, right? So global configuration mode, we'll say line console 0. Password CISCO, right? Then we say login synchronous, right? So I've done that. Then G says configure virtual terminal lines for the switch to allow telnet access. If you do not configure VTY password, you will not be able to use telnet, right? So how do we do the configuration? The same thing. So we go to our virtual terminal lines. Did they give us the password to use? Maybe we use the same CISCO, right? So I'm going to exit here. Line VTY 0. Now, how many line VTYs do we have? Let's find out. If I do show run, okay. Let's see. Can you see, where is it? Console, we have configured console. So VTY is 0 to 4. Can you see? So I'll say line VTY 0 space 4. That means there are 5 VTY lines. Then I'll say password. Just use CISCO. Then login. Right? So the question is, why the login command required? The login command is required so that whenever we are trying to log in to the device, it will prompt us for the password. So it activates at what point this password is activated. Okay, so we have to close the configuration window and go to step 2. Close this configuration window and then go to step 2. Step 2 says configure IP address on the PC. So assign IP address and subnet mask to the PC as shown in the addressing table. Okay, an abbreviated version of the procedure is described here. A default gateway is not required for this topology to function. However, you should enter 192.168.0.11.1 to simulate. All right. So let's go to the table. This is the table. We're supposed to put in an IP address 192.168.1.10. Okay. So this is it. I double click it, IP configuration. Then I come to static 192.168.1.10. Okay. Default gateway, I'll do 192.168.1.1. Okay. Then for the IPv6, we're given, where is it? This is it for IPv6 2001 column DB8. Let me copy this. B6 slash what? 64, right? Right. And then for the default gateway, we're given, where is it? Come down where we're walking. All right, this is what, okay, we'll use this as the default gateway. Okay. Okay. So put it like this. Okay, sorry. Right. So now it says navigate to the desktop tab, click IP configuration and verify that the static IP configuration redial button is selected. Okay. Enter the IP version 4 address mask and default gateway, which we have done. Verify that the static configuration redial is selected. We've done. Enter the prefix for IP version 6. We've done. And then close the IP configuration. So I will just come here, double click, and then go to the command prompt and then type ipconfig. So you see for the ipconfig, I have this IP address for IP version 4. I have this IP address for IP version 6. I have this for IP version 6 gateway. I have this for IP version 4 gateway, right? Then it says verify and test network connectivity. Okay. So we're going to verify. It says in part 3, you will verify and document the switch configuration, test end-to-end connectivity between PCA and switch 1, and test the remote management capability of the switch. Okay. Okay. Right. So from PCA to switch 1. So let's test. That means I will come here. I will now ping the IP address of the switch. What is the IP address of the switch? 1.2, right? I think we did 1.2. Okay. Ping 192.168.1.2. Very good. So you see, we're getting a reply. That means we're fine. Okay. We're fine. The next thing, it says, if we do show run, well, this is to display the configuration that is on the switch. Let me see. Interface VLAN 99. Okay, there's a command we have not yet done. The IPv6 address link local. All right, I think we have not done this one. Let me see. Coming down, yes, look at it here. This is the link local. We have not done it. So let's go to the interface VLAN 99. Okay. Let's come to the interface. VLAN 99. So interface VLAN 99. So IPv6 address, we put the IPv address, then link local. Okay. So I think that's the one we've not done. We can find out also if there is any part of this activity that we've not yet done. When we check results here, come to assessment items. Okay, so under the PCA, you see we have done everything. Under the switch one, oh, we forgot to use the login command for the line console, right? Let's go down again and see which one again. Okay, so we're yet to put in the router. We have not done for the routes. IP default gateway seems to be incorrect. And then VTY lines, right? So let's see. So we'll go back to fix them. We go to here, line console. So I will close this, then come back here, terminal. Okay. Then I see line console 0, login. Do not use the login command. Now, there is the line VTY. Now, line VTY, a router has 5 VTY lines. And the VTY lines are from 0 to 4, okay, which we have done. A switch has 16 VTY lines, which is 0 to 14, 0 to 15, all right? So we're supposed to be line VTY 0 to 15. So that is why you see in our result, it shows us that there are some VTY lines that were not passworded. All right, that's just a problem. So if I do 0 to 15, I see password CISCO, and then I do login. Okay. So now if we go there to check our results, you will see that area has been taken care of. So let's come to, you see the login has been taken care of. Then, okay, IP default gateway, we have not put that one correctly, so we're going to check it. But so you see the VTY lines have now been taken care of. So we're good in that. So now the only thing left is our IP default gateway. So what is our IP default gateway that we're giving? So IP default default gateway, right? What is the value? What IP address are we supposed to use? We're supposed to use 192.168.1.1, right? If I'm not mistaken. Let's go down to the activity, which we did. Let's go down, 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 down. Aha. So we only used this one. We didn't do IPv6 default gateway. Can you see? So we only did okay, no, let's see. Yes. We didn't do for IPv6 default gateway. All right, so let's come down to the configuration to be sure if that's what we have not done. IP default gateway 1.1, which is correct. Okay. So let's see. IP default gateway. Sorry, where are we? Now put 192.168.1.1. Put then IPv6 default dash gateway, right? Hope I typed it correctly. Six C. Okay, let's see it here. It's kind of strange, but let's see the configuration. Is it there? I think this is just it, which we have done. Let me just copy the command as it is. Probably there's a space somewhere that I'm not getting. Okay. Let me just put it this way. Paste it. Okay. And let me see, where is the IPv6? Press link lookup. Okay, so I don't know. I think we seem to have done everything correctly. So let's save our work. Copy, run, start. All right, now here, if I check my results, it's still telling me, you see, IP default gateway is incorrect. So I really don't know what I am missing, what we are missing out here. If we check the configuration that we've done, everything seemed to be correct. Banner done. IP default gateway. This is it here. This is Formula 99. Right. So, well, I don't see, I think we have done everything correct. Maybe there's an error somewhere. But if you're able to detect it, you can drop it in the comment section for me so that we can look into it together. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we'll come to the end of today's class. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be doing some other lab activities and I'll be sharing it with you guys. So subscribe to the channel so that you get notification. Good luck. Have a lovely day. Bye. Before I forget, if you have any question, don't forget to drop it also here. Thank you.